wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm. All I wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm.
All right, namaste and lakech, my family, and welcome to a special Rion and Tone podcast brought to you by Team Light. What up, brother? What's popping off over there?
My brother, great to catch up again via live camera, although we will be pre-recording this.
Yeah, listen, for everyone out there, I'm ready to go live. I'm ready to let it
Love
rip.
to put me on the hot seat.
I love to put Tone on the hot seat and just see where it takes us. Okay. No, but this will be a live premiere for you guys. Love you very much. Tone and I are here to promote the conference we are speaking at July 15th, 16th, 17th, July 15th through the 18th. The Disclosure Now conference. And we're going to be putting the links in this video where you guys can use our coupon codes and come on in. We got to take care of our family, you know what I mean? But I did this event, the Full Disclosure Now conference last year. It was an absolute success. It was an absolute blast, really. I met so many cool people. That's where I met Issa. That's where I met Mr. Sean Bond and even Julia. There's a lot of really gifted speakers out there. And Brian and Ida, you guys are doing a great job. Zach's out there too. Day of Being happens directly after the conference, Saturday and Sunday. So the conference is I believe, Tuesday through Friday. And then the Day of Being is on Saturday. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
So tell me what's popping up, bro. I just, what are we going to teach them? Because that's the whole thing is it's like,
I think we're going to do a little segue into how we got started. Definitely a little bit more detail than the last time, where we're going to discuss on how we met each other. We know that was orchestrated by our higher consciousness, and then how we kind of just intuitively learned how to start gridding. And you had your team directing along the way, but we also know that this is not the first time that we've done this, and so it was almost like we were carrying that memory from other previous incarnations on other planets and stuff like that. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about working with the Earth's grid, the Earth's energy, the meridian points, and how you can do that a couple of different ways, because face it, we've kind of morphed over the years. It used to just be you and I doing it energetically, and now we use a combination of tech and energy to get that done. And for you, that also is like a homing beacon that helps you lock into those power points.
100%, especially with the alchemy that we use is encrypted. So, I mean, we knew that a long time ago. I mean, even the grids that we made for quite some time, I was gridding the planet with you guys, and especially with my brother Tone, I don't know, 3-4 years before I've ever made it for the public. It was never, you know what I mean? We were using these as tools in our own work that we were doing behind the scenes. And then eventually all my friends are like, hey man, that's really cool. Can you make me one? And that's literally how it started. Now we make lamps, pyramids. Now they vibrate. They got Kesh engines in them. They've really advanced. But with some of the things I'd like to share is really with a lot of the people that have had different experiences in the SSP and different organizations, we spoke about this earlier, Tone, and even people that have a lot of paranormal experiences and have a lot of memories and interactions. My main thing is kind of getting back to the basics on basic spiritual defense and awareness. And I believe that me and you, since we have to constantly do it on a daily basis and nightly basis, it's mainly just to, how do you carry yourself? How do you know what are your thoughts and what others being projected upon you? How do you facilitate, working for source, working for your higher self? And then what are some of the distortions and things that come into your field? So it's a very interesting topic, but I feel it's something that we should at least share our base operations of how to move through the field or move through a group of people, how to scan, how to shield, how to be hyper aware in different circumstances, how to know if you're being tagged or being hooked. All right, we talk about that a lot. How to balance a room, how to balance your house, and even a conference. So I think that's kind of the stuff I would like to share. Just back to basics. Left side's your receiving side, right side's your sending side, but really kind of dive deeper into the simplistic function of it. It gets very complicated when you start breaking down the multidimensional nature of the universe and you start breaking down energies, bandwidths, and frequencies and oscillation ratios, and then obviously the species and the different groups that make up these different bandwidths. Rather, I think that we should, share how to open your heart, open that energy source, and actually envelop yourself in higher forms of, golden energy, which can be used to shield others. How do you feel about that, brother?
Yeah, and I think what you just said there about it being complicated, really, like we can just break it down to energy in the
Mm-hmm.
end. It's like, that it all boils around our energy field interacting with the greater energy field of this place. But yeah, 100% clearing is another thing that we definitely want to add to that, because clearing is paramount importance in these times. Every single one of us, myself included, and you included, pick up attachments every time you walk out into the public, every time you walk into a city environment and you're being bathed in frequencies. We pick up attachments, whether that be attachments from other people, whether that be attachments from the 5G. All of that stuff gets on our energy field. And so we have to constantly clear that off and get that off of us so that we can be the most receptive channel for source energy, for our higher consciousness aspects to manifest through these expressions that we're navigating this realm with.
100%. It's the most important topic, I believe, for a lot of people, especially when they're waking up from having specific, say you get your memories back and you're in a 20 and back program. It doesn't change the fact that you still have to live 1 foot in the spiritual, 1 foot in the physical. It still doesn't change your 3D lifestyle and actually having a positive thought forms go through your mind, right? It still doesn't change the fact that you still have to interoperate down here with these memories. And a lot of these memories, some are real, some are projected, right? A lot of people that go through a lot of experiences, with me and you, I know specifically, we always have to make sure that, this isn't some projection Blu-ray movie that they're trying to insert into our subconscious. We have to have cross references and checks to make sure that these are our higher selves, these are our memories, these are our experiences. And having a way to do that's very important. And really that Jedi training, just because people, get drafted into the military or just because people get selected when they're kids, let's just say, and they have these crazy experiences on or off world, let's just say, it doesn't change the fact that you still have to have your basic spiritual defense techniques up and running. Like just because you exceed crazy things, you're on board a ship looking out the window and you're experiencing all this awesome stuff, it still doesn't train you or prepare you to deal with things, right, that are affecting you right now in your life. How's the electromagnetic field around your house? What are you putting in your mouth and eating right now, right? What the air, the water, there's certain things being on this planet you have to be hyper aware of while you're processing your dream time, while you're remembering your dreams, right? And your memories. So when you get those memories back, it's something that some people have to go through, and it's very, very real. And I get it 100,000%. I have 100,000% resonance with it. My issue is that And the main thing I always asked my higher selves was this simply. I was like, is remembering this going to improve my life? Is remembering these skill sets going to improve my life, my happiness, right? Because there's a lot of stuff I remember that we do on mission and I have done on missions that when I wake up in the morning, I'm not sure I want to remember every single mission detail that we did. You know, I mean, clock in 3 rounds around, you know, our solar system, the dudes we arrested, the firefights we got into. Rather, what I'm saying is like, what is that place of peace that I can find within myself and the greater oversight and perspective necessary to realize the main purpose of being here on this planet in the first place, knowing that we signed up for a job, knowing that we're creators' kids, knowing that some of us are those Azarites, those really ancient souls. How can we assist the planet in a very positive and inclusive way? So you start reaching through the memory banks and you start saying, oh, I experienced this to learn this. I experienced this to learn that. You know what I mean? You start breaking down your whole memory catalog of everything you've gone through. Try to extrapolate the bullet points of what you learned and how you overcame. I think that's very important because then you see the higher purpose of existence and evolution. It can't just be, it was negative, it sucked, and everything that happened to me was negative. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I get that perspective 100%. But what did you learn? You know what I mean? That there's something you also attained through going through that experience. How do you feel about that, brother?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's simplified terms, it's integration of both light and night side. And so, those memories, although they weren't the most pleasant, they they carved us and forged us into what we are today. And you and I both, have said that we're trying to be a lot more light side, but we are a blend of light and night. And that's one of the reasons that we are down here, is because we're able to withstand a lot of the weird stuff and maintain our awareness despite an absolute cascade of weird stuff being thrown at us in dream time and all the frequencies and everything else. The fact that anybody awakens down in this place with the amount of stuff that's being thrown at them is a testament to the power of their soul. And so it does show how many powerful beings there are on this planet right now. Because yes, we have a good portion of the populace that is still under that hypnosis, but we're having more and more truly awaken, start being mission orientated, start working with the earth, start working with the collective consciousness. And back to your original point, is the thing that has made so many of us be able to do that, to break through the programming and the frequencies, is our past experiences, having done this multitude of times, myriad times, in other realms, other dimensions, other planets, and things like that, where we've had the kitchen sink thrown at us. And so, like you and I have even said that although this place is one of the craziest places in terms of all that stuff being thrown at us, it's not the most brutal that we've been in. Like it's extremely weird, to have the simulation overlays and the frequency weapons and the simulations being ran like in your mental constructs and stuff like that. But it's not the craziest in terms of warfare with weapons constantly, lasers shooting at you and things like that. But yeah, to back to your original point, the darkness, although it's not something that's real pleasant and it's not something we want to focus on all the time, of course we're always trying to focus on the light, and but they serve their purpose to carve us into the warriors and light workers that we are today. And we are some of the most powerful beings in this universe. And that's also why the whole multiverse is paying attention to what's going on right now.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, most of the time when we're scanning the surface of the planet or we hear things that are going on, we have the abilities to jump over there and see what's going on. And it's very interesting because we have a different interpretation of the game. It's like a lot of people, it's very strange. It's like, imagine being born in a fishbowl and then a very few people, say you're in this SSP and whatnot, you get to leave the fishbowl, say in the physical or most likely the fourth dimension, right? There's been a lot of talks about that. My question is, above that fishbowl or above those that get to reside and travel, there are so many layers of this hologram in this multiverse above the level of technology and interaction on this planet that it's kind of hard to fathom. All I get is I'm constantly in a flux field, multi-processing about 3 or 4 different dimensions simultaneously. And even right now, as I sit here and do this dissertation with you, every single one of my higher selves is listening to every single syllable that's coming out of my mouth. There is nothing random in my life. When you are truly awakened, you have the responsibility of being just that. I'm not allowed, and I know you're not allowed. Parts of me wants to still act like a kid and have fun and, my inner child come out and whatnot. But then there's this other oversoul version of myself that is like 100%. We monitor galaxies, that you are on mission. This is not, you are literally inhabiting a physical suit on Terra right now. And you and your brothers and sisters are literally at work every single day for this incarnation. Now, that being said, I believe there's a lot of abundance and positive things incoming for this planet. I believe that we will have contact in the next, 600 plus days, right? 528 days. I also do feel that many of us who have our frequencies and our hearts on, who are doing the work every day, all those fellow light workers and light warriors out there that are really service to others, God, and I would like to say our creator, but I also like to say the higher realms of reality see you. We literally are the light in the dark. So for me, there's something that's very like grounded with it. And this most simplistic answers are always going to be the ones that reside in, honestly, vibrate throughout time. You have to remember the beings that we are processing, these ultra terrestrials, or let's just call them the ancients, they don't mince words. The fact that they have to translate their, let's just say, bio data, right? Their light codes into your cerebral cortex, where you actually are speaking English, which is a very, very primitive and toned down language. There's like no inflection of power in the English language. That was done on purpose.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even as I sit here with you right now, like, how many worlds have we done this on? And for everyone listening to this video, how many worlds have you been on and gone through similar tests? The main point of this game is to evolve. So I'm just trying to remind everybody in this game who may have different experiences that the base reasoning and the base modality of your emotions, how you treat others, how you deal with responsibility, how you treat one another, being of service, or are you being, service to self? Everything breaks down into a numbers game. It's like binary. How many times you help someone, rather how many times you help yourself. What I'm getting to is find peace and prosperity in being balanced first. For a lot of beings coming out of this unconsciousness, work towards balance. Work towards getting towards the middle of your stream and seeing both sides of the equation. And obviously, for most of us, let's go ahead and go and work towards service to others, because that's literally where the big ladies and gentlemen of this universe exist in. Because you realize we're in third density, right? Working on fourth density. Once you get to sixth density consciousness, not dimensional, density, you realize that we are all one and we are all reflections of each other. So it's really important to kind of always have that in the back of your mind and not let this brainwashing, sleep cycle that they've put our brothers and sisters in for the past, 1,000 years. I mean, people are talking about all this advanced stuff. They still can't release on the mainstream what happened 150 years ago, 200 years ago. What's the mud flood? What's Tartaria?
Area.
You know what I mean? It's just like, what about all the science we had then? What is this cover-up story? Who took control of the planet and when? And for a lot of the beings that are listening to us now, we are completely aware of the time jumpers on this planet. Our higher selves are tracking every single jump, forwards and backwards, probably 20,000 years per jump.
Well, we're time jumpers too.
Yeah. So think about it. If you're a time jumper like us, we tracked jackasses who were jumping back in the timeline to adjust a future probability because they were losing. They didn't jump back in time because they won. They jumped back in time because they got their ass handed to them, and they said, "Hey, we can't deal with these high level angelics who actually, or these awakened souls. Like 20,000 years in the future, probably rule a large portion of this galaxy." You have to imagine human beings right now, 20,000 years into the future.
Yeah.
So we're not running from Greys, I can tell you that much. And we're definitely not running from reptilian, I can tell you that much. Why?
It's literally when the DNA comes back online, that's game over.
Yeah,
That's
and that's
an absolute avalanche of things trying to stop that right now. They're in panic mode because once the DNA kicks back on, we start growing new strands, go 12 strand and up. Like all of the powers come back, all of our memories come back, all the full Akashic record of where we've been throughout history, where we're going to go, because we know time is not, it's not linear like it is here. All time is happening right now. So like the Akashic records, once we access that fully, we're accessing our future selves, and it's like a constant stream of communication going back and forth, which is kind of what you and I do when we're talking to our higher selves. We're really talking to our future selves. The future selves downloading stuff backwards in time. But yeah, that whole timeline thing, that's a big part of this whole battle taking place right now. It's a temporal timeline war as well as the genetic war and the war for DNA and consciousness and things like that. But the timeline jumping, it's like a hopscotch game, because we'll tweak a timeline and do something, they'll jump back and try to undo that, and then we have to jump back again and undo that. And so it's a constant hopscotch going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
We've already experienced that with what they're doing at CERN, the Mandela effect, all the different timelines merging. I mean, the Bernstein bears, or the Barnstein, it's Bernstein bears. Like we're getting mixed with different timelines that we remember things differently right now.
Sinbad. Like the Sinbad
was definitely, what was he? He was the genie in it, like whatever that movie was. No, what was it called? Shazam?
I think, but they claim it never happened. I'm like, I saw that. I saw.
We definitely all saw Sinbad in a tight jumpsuit. You can't unsee that in the 90s.
But that is those timeline wars creating that weird Mandela effect and other things. But yeah, like we're constantly doing that, jumping forward and backward in time. And I'm constantly talking to my higher self as well as my future self. And then I'm constantly, even the self right now, I'm trying to send back to versions of myself in the past to give that version information to see if I can even hyper accelerate my development right now. So it's a weird thing, but when you start getting out of that linear time set of thinking, okay, time occurs A, B, C, D, and you start going up into the higher realms, it's like you're looking down on all the timelines in a circle, like almost like a DVD player on a movie, where you can stop it at a certain point and then rewind and then access that point. That's kind of what we're able to do from those higher aspects of consciousness.
And I mean, the main priority of it is what? It's like, here's the truth too, for ladies and gentlemen. It's not some ego, rego, schmodrigo situation that you guys have seen out there across the internet. Those that actually have the real jobs have to deal with the real responsibilities of wielding that sort of energy. And let me tell you, they test the shit out of you. Constantly we are tested. It's not like, oh, you get all your gifts and your powers back, and now you get to sit on the couch and be curious and talk to your higher selves all day. That's not how it works. When you're activated and that DNA comes on, your entire mindset of what you think existence is changes.
Yeah.
Your polarity may shift, hopefully towards the light side. Even your diet, your workout routine, your friends, as your vibration goes up, it's almost like you're being woken up out of a coma. So being in the matrix will actually disgust you. You're like, I can't be in this electromagnetic grid anymore. I'm way too sensitive. I can't be around this level of unconsciousness. It's uncomfortable. Now, listen, us light beings, we do it. We show up, we do our part, and we assist our brothers and sisters. What I'm trying to say is that if you guys really started to, let's say, oscillate faster, you detoxed all the heavy metals out of your body, you decalcified your third eye so you can see out of your pineal gland. You fixed your diet. You got your workout routine dialed in. You're sun charging every day. Your throat chakra, your third eye, and the rest of your chakras start booting up. The amount of data that's going to course through your consciousness is similar to, maybe a way to explain it would be like this. imagine your subconscious and your consciousness become one. People think that this AI is so advanced. When the funniest thing I could always imagine is, do you know that? Imagine this. Imagine every single thing you have ever heard or thought about or seen, and all of the awareness you have in your biofield, let's just say. So imagine you can't hear someone talking 30 feet away with your 3D ears, but your energy recorded it into your subconscious. If we're using 5 or 10% of the true capacity of a human brain, do you even know how truly intelligent you are? Do you have any idea how your higher selves, our higher selves, use us down here in base reality as a power plant that they're all plugged into and interacting with? Do you know how many lazy ass higher selves there are think that they're just playing a video game and basically siphoning your energy every night while they get to do whatever they want to do in their reality? When you start taking your power back, a part of that means taking your power back from your night side, which resides on the right. It also means taking your power back from the phantom matrix, the copycat matrix, which has enslaved this planet for a couple thousand years plus. I don't like to give years on how long the phantom matrix has been around, but I can give you some insights. This is fresh, Tone. I haven't even told you this. You guys ever hear about that black goo stuff they find? The black goo, it's in the ionosphere. It's conscious, right? And they're finding it in rocks, and how the Germans were actually extracting black goo, right, from stones and rocks that had been like crystallized, and they were doing it. This is what I said. I said, because I was asking about the AI in the consciousness which inhabits the walls of this hologram and how it runs the code, which you may have seen if you guys have seen that video where the guy takes 2 red lasers and the guy does DMT and he looks through the laser and you can actually see code running up and down the laser. I don't know if you've seen that, right? But I was going, what is this black goo? I remember this stuff. They go, no, son, that was the black goo. Imagine this was more like a sponge. It was almost like what that black goo is. They tried to clean this planet of this crazy warlike nano AI weaponized stuff that was left down here from past, probably the pyramid wars that was brought over here. The black goo, like imagine it was a clean sponge and they tried to clean up most of it and they didn't get it all. That black goo is actually the remnants of the cleanup that they tried to clean up, I want to say 40,000 plus years ago. So I was like, did someone create that? They're like, no, that's the leftovers after we tried to clean it up. We couldn't get it all. It's like soap suds. They cleaned up the majority of it, but they didn't get it all. What I'm trying to say is so it wasn't like they created black goo. Rather there was some weird, crazy war that popped off, and the black goo was almost like the dirty sponge, and it was left all over the place. There's like dirty smear marks all over this entire biosphere. So, yeah, I mean, I'm asking really adult questions. I'm like, who owns the Black Knight satellite? Why is no one talking about it? Why can't we go ahead and take a Starlink and land 5 satellites on the Dark Knight satellite? Why is there a big question mark? Who owns that? Who owns this planet? You start breaking down, you start asking adult questions in this place. All of a sudden, your whole paradigm shifts. You're like, whoa. This is not. I'm like, no, dude, you guys are waking up out of a coma. We were on some weird Sim City land shit, and you guys are waking up out of stasis. You can call it whatever you want, an awakening, a this or that, but your soul is actually waking up on the hospital bed, and you're sitting up going, Stardate 2025. Where am I? And you're looking around going, what sub-base program was I running? They're like, lower density ego program. How long have I been asleep? You're like 44 years. When does the ships arrive? 2 years, 528 days. So you have to realize, how fast do you guys want to go? Some of us are awake. Not like I'm going to get there someday and I'm a guru telling you how to do a breathing technique. No, some of us are like real awakened beings managing a planet in a way that's like, because it's all a numbers game. Tone, you know this. Yeah. What is it? One awakened being is worth what? 1,000 or 10,000?
1 million. If it's fully awake. Yeah. 1 million.
Here, say it again so the whole world.
One fully awakened online being is the equivalent of 1 million. 1 million other beings. So to awaken your consciousness fully and understand to your core that God spark and have that manifest out into this reality, you are the equivalent of 1 million other beings.
Listen, I like it. You know what I mean? Okay, let's liven it up. We're just dropping. We're dropping some conscious. What else would you like to talk about? What are some of the things that we're going to discuss at the conference you think that people need to hear?
Well, I mean, definitely we'll go into some of the spiritual warfare, some of the, multidimensional stuff like we just talked about, but solutions, like we're going to start, dropping some solutions. Again, meditation is always key to reclaim your mind, even meditation on your emotional body, your energy body, things like that. That is one way of deciphering, whether what you're feeling, what you're thinking is coming from you, or is it coming from the collective, or is it coming from the phantom matrix? But the way to do that is to constantly be the observer of your mind, your mental states, your emotional states, and things like that. And then things clearing is like we said at the beginning of this, it's going to be more and more paramount as time goes on, because one of the things that you and I have witnessed over these years is this frequency war has gotten far more crazy than back when we first started things.
Yes.
So like it's just a nonstop, avalanche of frequencies being beamed at us, constant stuff on the news, which, of course we know, turn that garbage off.
Yes.
But yeah, and day by day, they're accelerating or compressing the events faster to keep the mind discombobulated. So one of the things is shutting it off and then observing the mind. Also, another thing you alluded to is getting into nature. If we think about this place being a holographic overlay, nature would be the clearest area of the highest concentration of actual spirit. So the more you get into the frequency of nature, the less contamination you're getting from this artificial holographic overlay, the more you're interacting with true spirit, things that are source embodied. And it's a very vastly different energy field that you're in. Just sitting in nature, connecting to nature, away from the Wi-Fi fields, away from all the weird frequencies, is a way of clearing by itself. The more you connect to that, the more you connect your spirit to that spirit, the larger spirit of nature, the more clear of a channel you're going to be for source energy, for your higher consciousness aspects to manifest through you.
All I know is that our creator wants us to be in bliss and happiness. And all I know is that all this stuff that we've had to learn and we're forced to do when honestly signed up for this job. I know me and you in this incarnation have changed drastically. I am not the same person I was. You know what I mean? Even with this integration, and maybe I got here as a little golden, blue-eyed, white-haired Palladian. I had white hair till I was 9. I'm trying to bring it back, bro. Trying to bring it back. But this is what this dimension did to me. But listen, the native genes kicked on. The truth is that there's versions inside of us that can help a lot of people, and I'm just trying to facilitate that. I don't like people being steered in the wrong direction. Your higher self is your true teacher. You know what I mean? Like all these different types of education out there and people, pretending to be gurus. I'm sorry. You're not a fifth dimensional construct. You're in a physical vessel regurgitating information. Okay. I got to be honest with you. The first thing that I had to learn is get out of the way. It's like being awake. Like imagine channeling, right? You kind of step out of the way and your higher self steps in the suit and you start channeling, right? Start pulling down information. The thing is that it's you speaking. The trans channel thing is a little different. When you actually exit the suit and let another being come in, I know me and you are not allowed to do that. I'm not allowed to give this suit, this Ferrari with, homing, Stinger missiles attached to it like a damn Halo suit. I'm not allowed to allow anyone other than my soul to drive this suit. And I know
nothing but our own consciousness stream do we allow
Yeah.
speak through us. Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's how I kind of know that people have different jobs, because some people are, I guess, allowed to be trans channel. Some people are great at channeling. But some of us who are light warriors who actually have different occupations and jobs, I am not allowed to have someone else sit in the suit.
Yeah.
So, because we're constantly getting messed with, but I can say is that we have had a lot of positive stuff. And I want to end with this, some of the things to look forward to. Abundance is inbound. The dreams over and over and over again is stuff getting cleaned up. Even last night we were working and with different, let's just call them the white hats, and things are being adjusted right now in the quantum space, in the different dimensions. It's being cleaned up right now. What humanity and the planet is dealing with right now is removing all of the echo programs. Since all the upper management have been removed, we still have to deal with all the lower management and those, energies that are still ensouled or attached to humans that are in places of power. We have to slowly just remove this stuff. Another thing too, with all these new guys coming out saying that they're the Messiah and the Wonka Tonka Mahadi Chadi Body and Chadi. I can't do it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, if these guys would come up on the mountain with me at freaking 10 at night and see a 15-foot glowing blue being, clear as day, staring at you like you were a snickerdoodle, like a snickerdoodle. Like, you're the size, you don't even come up to their kneecap. And I got beings down here pretending that they know what that feels like. I can't do it because you read scripture and you memorize some shit and some sort of story. We all know the stories were written 300 years after the fact. It doesn't make you a rocket science. It also doesn't make you a galactic officer who was activated because the entire planetary structure was going off the rails. That is not in your scripture. Let me help you for everyone out there. This call that went out to all of the light beings of the universe went out. The top beings from Sirius A, Sirius B, Andromeda, Lyran, Lyra, Vega, the Venusians. There are so many species, right? And maybe some of the cool Anunnaki, still in question. What I'm trying to get to is this. The story of this planet cannot hold the amount of support that showed up here.
True leader empowers people to empower themselves rather than bow down and worship them. And, we could get into the whole Christ thing. That's a whole other thing. Like the way that got taken off the rails, Christ never wanted to be bowed down to and worshiped. He wanted you to do as he did. He was literally trying to tell his disciples, y'all will go on to doeth greater works than I. Ye all are sons and daughters of God. And so any type of leader that starts off with that, I'm the chosen one, you have to follow me and listen to everything, I have to say, that is red flag central everywhere, because the greatest leaders of all will try to find that God spark within you and bring it forth for you to be fully empowered, fully conscious yourself. In my opinion, more paramount of importance than the evolution of our consciousness through these particular expressions and the collective as well. And that's what we see playing out right now, is they're trying to steer the collective one way and we're here to try to steer it the other way. And so there's that battle in the in between. And right now it's the battle of artificiality versus organic. And so we're trying to empower more of the organic, more of the spirit, more of the consciousness. And not to say that, all technology is terrible. It's served its purpose. But you and I have also discussed this, that as a fully awakened being, when the DNA comes back online, technology is exempt. It's not even needed, because like what the cell phone, what is that doing? It's communication across a distance. Well, if you're fully telepathic, that's a million times more efficient than putting a phone up to your ear and dialing a number. We can send entire books of information mind to mind, boom, 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 boom. And so, yeah, it's just that they're trying to compress us into more of a tiny consciousness frequency and awareness, where we're seeing very myopically, and we're in the process of trying to expand that and join forces with the entire multiverse. And so we're going to keep fighting that good fight and steer as many that want to go that other way. We're going to help them steer that boat that way.
Okay, so check this out. And for all the younger souls, I get it. Everything that happened the last 2,000 years, I totally get it. This is what I'm trying to say. What if you're a soul, the last memory you have, the last incarnation you had on this planet was Atlantis going down? And all of your memories are you're in a 12 or 15-foot avatar walking through these gorgeous cities, an advanced technology of a class 1 or class 2 civilization, and you have those souls inside of these bodies staring at some shit written by a human in English or Greek or whatever. I don't want to get too philosophical. I mean, hopefully Sanskrit, at least that was the oldest language that was written down. Maybe some papyrus, we'll see, some stone tablets, some Sumerian, whatever that may be for you. What I'm getting to is that you have different age souls interacting on this planet. And that's really where a lot of these religions are just going to go poof, can't hold it. Yeah. Can't hold it. You're like,
yeah,
there are many different territories on this planet. Go ahead.
You and I are more about the latter, what we just talked about. We're more about empowering the other rather than empowering ourselves and wanting to claim messianic, abilities that, we're some special thing. I don't view myself as special at all. Like, I view myself as equals to every other spirit that is inhabiting on this planet. And, I've gone through a lot of trials and errors to get to where I am, and a lot of direct experience. But my whole thing is about empowering the individual, rather than empowering myself and having followers. I don't care about any of that kind of stuff. I want to see people reach their highest potential. You do too. I know you do. Like, that's all the two of us care about more than anything on this earth, is seeing each individual reach their highest potential.
That's literally it.
Yeah.
As many of my friends and family that can get up on their own 2 feet, vibrating at the proper, oscillation or vibration that their soul deems fit, that their essence, their divinity wishes to once again vibrate at. Anything other than that, I'm not into. I want everyone to live in paradise and have a beautiful heart and a beautiful life and a beautiful innocence, which should be protected. And it's really that simple to me, because at the end of the day, ladies and gents, our lives down here are pretty short. I said this in my last video. I don't have much time, nor do you, to be pointing fingers and saying this or saying that. Everyone right now should be working on their personal growth and in truly just becoming a better person every single day. One little step in the right direction every single day. That's what I would say. Learn something new every day. Work on yourself a little bit every single day. And that's all anyone could ever ask of you,
The evolution of consciousness, like, for me, that's the most important thing in this place, my own, and to help as many others as I can to reach that, their highest evolutionary potential as well. Once we do that, we transform the world that way.
100%. All right, Brother Ray, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on our podcast here, Rion and Tone. Tone Mellard, they can find you if they need sessions. I know you and Wendy are doing those. They can find you at Raven Healing at proton.me.
That's correct. Yes.
It's encrypted on both sides. You know what I mean?
So private.
I'm at teamlight.com, and definitely you guys check out the fulldisclosuremovement.org. I will put the coupon code for us in the description of this video for Facebook and YouTube and everybody. And just know that we love you. And I think that, man, if you asked me this question with these certain characters 3 or 4 years ago, I would have been way more abrasive. For me right now I'm like, hey, man, anyone stepping, man or woman, into the light to try to assist humanity in any shape or form, I support. Now, I don't support all of the titles, mind you. Yeah. But what I can support is the energy of change, which needs to happen on this planet. So whatever that is, hey, man, God works in mysterious ways, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, check you guys out next time. All right?
Peace.
All wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm. All I wanted, all I ever needed is here